Back in the old mystic year of 2013, nearly a decade ago, I was but a young and upcoming new member on the Sonic Stadium message boards. My first ever post brought me across two weird fellows, one by the name of Dwibs94, and the other an odd man named Too Fat. And the other, an odd man called Teoskavin in a Final Fantasy thread. But little did I know that they would pale in comparison to the very might and majesty of a user who went by the name of David Cage at the time.
Yeah. What?
He's not joking. For context, okay, do they still have the feature, Joe, where you can change your display username?
Essentially, if you want to know more, watch our practical guide video.
Yes, they do, Pedro. You can still change your name, yeah.
Sometimes for the lols, I would just change all of my display username plus signatures plus avatars just for the lols. And at the time, I was impersonating David Cage for the lols, and I would even respond things in David Cage terms and everything.
Now, as for where I'm going with this, you see, 2013 was a very crazy year. Xbox were going mad with power with their new Xbox One system, which everyone really hated in its original stance here. Sony were about to lead the charge against them, and while things were going crazy in the video game empire, things were arguably going even more insane in the film industry. One of which would show the coming of a movie. Not just any movie, a movie starring one of the greatest mysteries in all film industry, and just why the heck he was a thing, Kellen Lutz. Motion capturing as a terribly rendered human in a supposed big blockbuster film that we call today Tarzan 2013. And it was in the thread on Sonic Stadium that I met David Cage, also known as the powerful person productive premier P4 PPPP Pedro Duarte.
I had to clean here the saliva.
He was, of course, role-playing as David Cage because, let's be honest, this is what would happen if David Cage made a Tarzan movie.
Yes, basically, yeah. I posted let's make a topic about this movie because the trailer had just been released, and everybody on the message board was utterly baffled by how horrible the trailer looked. To give you a basic idea, real quick, everybody, the trailer starts off fun, basically telling the basic story of Tarzan that we all know, and then midway through the trailer, it suddenly switched to a company talking about an alien meteorite that just landed on Earth, and we need to get this thing because it has some kind of mystical powers, and it's just like, what the fuck are you even talking about, you moron?
Now, maybe you're thinking that the trailer that it showed off was just really bad. No, the movie was actually worse than we expected based off of the trailer.
The movie is, trust me, it's one of those cases where it wasn't bad marketing. When you see that trailer and you see the movie, trust me, the movie is selling, you're getting exactly what the trailer sold you.
Now, why the big lead-in, you may be wondering? Well, this movie is part of the reason that SCWRM as it is now exists. We sort of brushed up on this a bit in our little catch-up video, which you can find on our main page, essentially. But to make a long story short, too late, back in the day, this is how I met Pedro, and this would later lead to Pedro becoming one of the main members of SCWRM, which, you know, if you're familiar with us nowadays, you know that it's the main 5 of us. Granted, in our first incarnation, it was a much different team, but that is not the case anymore. And, again, if it weren't for this movie, I might have never met Pedro, and he might have never joined the team later on. So, yeah. This also means that I've known these guys for nearly a decade now. Make of that what you will.
Damn. But yeah, this is apparently, a German production because, yes, Constantine films are involved with it. Just so happened to be exported also into the English language. Some illustration that well, not for Germany, still hasn't stopped these days in regards to, adaptations from books. Me,
Constantine
Deji, and Pedro know
films.
what we're talking about.
Okay, I'm actually curious about that, but Constantine Films, where have I heard that name before?
Downfall, we commented on
Yeah,
that recently.
Downfall and the Fantastic Four films, and this is what they are reduced to releasing because even though this came to theaters, it's bad. Like, holy cow.
I actually saw it in theaters when it came out over here, and I was the only person in the entire theater.
Let me put it like this. You thought John Carter was terrible. It is, but this might be the kind of thing that would make Edgar Ryce Burroughs tell someone to calm down. And trust me, if you're familiar with Edgar Ryce Burroughs as a writer, you know that's quite a huge threshold to cross, but here we are.
So, where should we start, Jova?
Let's start out in space with the Constantine Films logo. But I'm sure that's just for the logo.
Well, before that, there's the Wall of Texas has been supported by a bunch of German film groups.
Yeah.
So if you have any logos before that, skip those.
Okay,
All
everyone ready?
Yeah.
Here we go in 3, 2, 1, click. This movie is without a doubt an anomaly, to say
Also,
the least.
for reference, budget 25 million, which for an animated movie is not really that much, and box office 44. So it was actually close to break even. But yeah, no kidding. It's even from the same perspective.
Seriously, how fucking blatant can you be?
Well, I thought this was about Tarzan.
I know, right? Like,
wait. Listen to this origin. But we start in space! But we start in space!
This is not how I expected this to go at all.
What did you
I'm sorry, I
guys?
have to say this. A young boy from New York. Tarzan is from London, you hacks. Like, it's just...
If I understand correctly,
Americans.
this is the story of Tarzan kind of reimagined to be taking place in more modern society.
So, Sheila, what do you think of this Tarzan movie so far?
I guess we're starting
I feel like we're watching the wrong movie. Oh, no, wait, no, there we go.
Wow,
Yeah.
this Pips 2 game is great.
That's the
Oh,
thing.
I didn't know that we were watching a Super Mario Brothers movie.
That's the thing. This movie, this whole movie,
Goodbye, dinosaurs.
believe it or not, this whole movie is motion captured.
Yeah, basically the reason the budget is like this because the animators didn't have to animate all that much because they could use mocap data to.
So they basically pulled a Rango?
Yes, of course, because this movie just screams Tarzan so far.
No, wait, Pedro. They pulled a Rango?
Here's the thing. Rango actually used it well. Oh, by the way...
Yeah.
Oh, God!
That's it.
Ooh,
Sweet
these faces.
Jesus. I see
Do
that...
your ugly as shit as sin.
I'm
Well,
getting,
Okay,
I'm getting Marcelin's mom's flashbacks.
Alright.
That is
Okay, one thing about the behind the scenes video that I watched of this a few years ago was that the director Reinhard Klutsch, and also the co-writer, said that he actively wanted to avoid the uncanny valley.
Fail!
That is a face that not even the most dearest of moms can love.
I don't know. She ain't exactly looking like Madonna
Also-
herself. But that
Okay,
being said, one
Yes,
thing you
go
should
on.
keep in mind. Notice how, unlike in most versions, Tarzan is actually a full-on preteen kid
Yeah,
before
I was about to
that.
actually mention, isn't unfortunately still haven't read the first book, but isn't the general common myth the fact that Tarzan was
A baby.
adopted by apes when he was an infant,
Yes. This
and
one,
that's why he managed to actually grow in that kind of culture.
this one does not, though, and trust me, it will lead to some plot holes later down the line. Also, you may have noticed how one of those characters, Porter, looks more cartoonish than everyone else who looks photorealistic.
I noticed the chin.
And now here we are
Whoa.
in that
Narnia?
dark...
the remains of a meteorite, I take.
Seriously, this guy Porter here, and yeah, by the last name you should probably guess who he's related to, but whatever, he oddly looks more cartoony than everyone else in this movie, and I don't get why.
Okay, allow me. Just like with the Disney movie, we have a villain called Clayton. Now, allow me to explain. Clayton, both in the name Clayton actually comes from the family of Tarzan because the actual real name of Tarzan is John Clayton. So the Disney movie was basically making a cheeky joke where, oh, the villain has Tarzan's original human name, like a little inside gag for those who read the book, basically. And this movie is basically just copying that, basically.
So, yeah, Tarzan already has something of an affinity with monkeys.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so these are his parents.
Yeah, and he gave himself his own name, like a nickname for himself. That's what it is.
That was poor exposition, Jesus.
Yep.
Oh! He's not that good at it.
Okay, like I just said, his real name is supposed to be John Clinton, but they said JJ, as in 2 J's. Like, okay, so it would be John what? John
Jones.
Oh, and what's this? Mr. Porter mentioned to kiss Jane for him. Oh.
Yeah, I wonder who that daughter is. Anyway. So yeah, Tarzan's parents are unlike the original novel where the Claytons. Well, I guess they're not the Claytons in this version. Tarzan's parents were supposed to be marooned in the western coastal jungles of Africa.
In this one, they're just taking a trip.
Yeah, in here they're taking a trip, and Daddy here is looking for something. Let's see what it is. Also, the gorillas don't look that much better, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Also, sorry, go on.
Jesus, those demonized. But
Jesus.
So here's the thing, like, in this version, they're kind of on an expedition of sorts, so fair beans enough, I guess. That said, it's pretty convenient that Mr. Porter didn't go along with them, as you'll see.
Also, Tarzan's parents are voiced by Mark Decklin, who was mostly a TV actor, and Jamie Ray Newman, who has been in more movies, at least.
So, Shiroi, would you say your usual description of gross applies to the visual so far?
Nah, just dated.
So what do you think of the animation with the motion capture?
That's the thing about dated, Shiroi. Even back when this movie first came out, people were talking about how on that topic that me and Joe were talking about. People necessarily were saying, "Oh, it looks like a GameCube game."
Like these probably would have been more acceptable if it was 2007 at the very least. But no, this was 2013. Sure, the movie was in development since 2010, but. Come on, guys.
Keep in mind, 2013. This was when video games were reaching an absolute pinnacle in how good they could look in animation. And this looked weaker than them.
So there you go. Tarzan was not Tarzan. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Kala's partner, I guess, just lost an ape fight. So now this new ape is the new leader.
I'm the alpha male.
Basically.
Well, that's how it usually works with a lot of animal species.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so actually...
Literally.
So yeah, so her mate initially won, but then the bad gorilla smashed a rock over his head. Now, to be fair, this was actually taken from the book, wherein there was actually an evil gorilla who Tarzan has to stand up to. Mind you, this does not take it well from the book. As Pedro can elaborate on later.
Well, no, okay. Like I said, they're not.
They're an active volcano.
Yes, that's right. Fly over an active volcano.
I mean, Resident Evil 5 told me it's possible, so why not?
That's not how it. That's not again
this OG Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I know. No. Actually, this reminds me of Dragon Ball Evolution. You can't go from a jungle to a volcano in just a few steps. That's not how Earth works.
Hey guys, we went from that to an ice quandary to now a mountainous region. It's Super Mario Brothers.
This is a Super Mario Brothers world, not a fucking environment that's even something even resembling the real world. And don't get me wrong, yes, I get this is an animated film, everybody, but trust me, this is one of those animated films that goes for the mocap thing to try to look realistic.
Okay. So, it could be a reference to the Kilimanjaro because that's literally just one single giant mountain that's also a non-active volcano. So they probably wanted to reference potentially that.
Because sure, we're looking for alien artifacts, kind of.
What?
Again, this meteorite, it technically counts as alien artifact, I suppose, but...
He'll be back in 1 hour, and nothing will go wrong.
That was one thing the Disney film was missing: aliens.
Wait. You're saying this place looks creepy? Have you guys looked in a mirror? You're probably the scariest things here.
Particularly JJ. But, no, like Jova was saying, yeah, the book, okay. Yes, okay. I'm okay with the parent. Okay, here's the thing. In the Disney movie, nobody ever said Tarzan's real name. The parents were never even addressed because the prologue was entirely devoid of dialogue. So it's okay. Okay, they named the villain Clayton in the Disney movie because it was a cheeky little reference for fans of the book. That's fine. Mm-hmm. In here, however, they actually bring up the names of the parents and everything. And in here, okay, they don't bring up their names specifically, but they call him JJ, which implies that his last name is not Clayton. So it makes me wonder. So I guess these are not the Claytons, which again, don't get me wrong, that's not a problem. I'm okay with a name change. It's just a name. That doesn't suddenly ruin the source material or anything like that.
Okay.
But yeah, it is weird that they wouldn't just keep the Clayton names. Go on.
I think JJ is meant to be like for John Jr., since his father's name is John, and I assume that he's also named John.
Yeah, well, in the book, so go on, Shira.
If you're going through, like, is this a chasm? Like, cave chasm thing? Shouldn't you be wearing headgear?
Yeah, he should actually wear, like, an headgear of sorts, but no, let's just go in.
Because, like, this is his job, apparently. Like, where's your hard hat?
Yeah, basically.
Good question.
To answer you, Jova, okay. The parents in the book were called John and Alice Clayton, and Tarzan's real name is John Clayton II.
So I guess it's closer to that.
It's funny.
But that's the thing. It's not Junior like Jova was guessing. It's John Clayton II. So there's no second J anywhere in the original. Okay, don't get me wrong. This doesn't ruin anything. It's just a name.
I guess to be fair, when you call I guess to be fair, when you call someone the second, that often implies that they're the junior to the senior.
Like, it's kind of like a synonym or something.
I guess.
Whoa.
I feel like just John would have been fine. I mean, the father is called John.
Wait, why are you also arriving at the edge of a cavern? Weren't you supposed to wait in the helicopter?
I have not to mention that, I have one to bring up. These are the worst parents ever. You're bringing your small little child into this dangerous place.
Couldn't you leave it with Porter, or at the very least?
He has to learn about the real world.
They can afford a babysitter, surely.
Dej, newsflash.
Whoa.
The solution to teaching your kid how to swim is not to drop him in the ocean, okay? There are better ways. Okay.
I was raised wrong.
Hey, Sheree, it's funny you mention them getting a babysitter, because the movie will establish that they're actually pretty loaded. So...
Yeah, well, that's what it is in the book as well, Jova. John and Alice are filthy rich in the book. Rich.
So wait, chipping away a shard of a meteorite causes its activation?
Yes, remember that for later.
Basically, in the book, Tarzan's parents are actually nobles from England, both of them. So yeah, they're loaded. Yeah.
Yeah, get the fuck away.
Fun fact: Tarzan is white skin in ape language.
Yeah. Again, if you know nothing about Edgar Ryce Burroughs, is that unfortunately he was one of those people who love to inject his own ideologies in its stories, and most of its ideologies are
Don't all of us do that.
That moment from the trailer that scared people. Actually, Kala also has a little son.
Oh, no.
Sure would be a shame if something were to happen to him.
Seriously. Okay, I'll go on.
Look, you may be his new stepfather, but that doesn't give you a right to murder him. Don't do it. Don't do it.
That's what natural selection is.
Okay, seriously, that's how you have Kala's son die? like the Sabor death was actually something because the Sabor was actually a character from the book, and so it was a good idea to have the Sabor kill the son. But no, here he just falls because he's a fucking stupid moron. That's no as impactful as a Disney
How do
movie.
you
did.
know that?
I don't know. They just know because they're nobles from England, so they think they know everything. I don't know. What was I going to say? Okay, this is actually something that they ripped off from the Disney movie because in the book, Kala and Kerchak don't have a son. Instead, here's what happens in the book. In the book, Kerchak kills Tarzan's parents, believe it or not.
Whoa.
It's storming, and then it's snowing, and then...
Why did he have a face? This is not the mummy.
Or James and the Giant Peach.
Sorry. Okay, here's an interesting thing about the beginning. Oh, actually, no, I forgot about to get the mummy.
Ooh,
Oh god, that face got worse. Oh god.
Sure. What if I told you that in the trailer it looks worse?
I can believe that. Yeah.
And
Also, why does the gorilla looked happy that the helicopter crashed for a second.
Oh,
like a
how
message from
lovely!
the
A shooting
stars.
star. But yeah, somehow Tarzan
Make a
survived
wish.
that while his parents did not.
Yes. There was so they had this big accident. All of them died except Tarzan.
They all should have died.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I was saying, like Jova can attest what I'm saying. Believe it or not, in the trailer, Tarzan's mummy face was even worse.
It
so
was.
I'm guessing maybe they realized that people weren't liking it, so they touched it up maybe before release. But anyway,
Potentially.
so okay, here's the interesting thing for those who haven't read the book. In the book, the parents, of course, are marooned in the western coastal jungles of Africa. We all know that. Sometime later, their son is born. So Tarzan was actually born in the jungle, in the original book, and after that, when he is 1 year old, his mother dies, and then the father dies. How? And the father is killed by Kerchak. So yeah, in the book, the ape that killed Tarzan's father adopts him.
Look at this.
Yeah.
He's in the seat, and there's not a scratch on him.
Yeah, I was about to mention, like
what?
Especially-
Did somebody pull an ejector seat and that parachuted him out of the helicopter? Oh wait, no,
I
that
guess he
can't
has a
because of the
slight bruise on
blades.
his cheek. That's what she's manning at. But,
Oh,
As you can-
wait. Just a bruise on his cheek? I've been in worse accidents than that on my bike. And yet he came out of this. Lucky as
He's just built different.
Yeah, he has only one scratch on one cheek. That's all that happened to him. Only one scratch on one cheek. Seriously.
This is one of the worst cases of main character syndrome I've ever seen.
It gets
Yeah.
worse.
Monkey plushie. But anyway, okay, yeah. So yeah, as you guys can guess, obviously when Disney and Constantine Film made their versions, obviously they didn't have Kerchak kill the Tarzan's father because yeah, having the ape that killed his father adopt him is very dark and fucked up. So yeah, these versions basically
Ew.
change that.
Ugh.
Thank you. We totally needed that.
I forgot to mention, yeah, because I know this was also marketed to be a 3D movie.
Yes.
So I guess we're gonna see
Oh,
all
so
the
that
things in our
the
faces.
soldiers would have been.
Yeah, I think one of the alternate titles was Tarzan in 3D.
The early 2010s or something.
So, remember, he has been old enough to know how to talk properly as a human. He knows how to function as a
Yeah.
human. Remember that for later, because...
Yes. Oh, and here's another shot from the trailer.
Ah,
No, why does everybody in this movie look ugly?
Wow,
With those
same way you
eyes,
lost the other kid, eh?
I'm sorry, Shira. This just looks gross to me.
Also, where does clothes go? He was wearing clothes earlier. Did they strip him of his shirt
I guess
while he
we're
was
saying
asleep?
that some time has passed, potentially.
Yeah, Jova just said it, but I want to reinforce this point. Yes, remember, he's like 7, 8,
I think
I don't know.
10.
9, 10, whatever. The point is, he's already old enough to talk. In fact, he was talking just earlier in the prologue, right? Therefore, he knows how to talk. Keep this in mind. I know that Jova already said this, but trust me, it bears repeating.
Let me
Yeah.
guess. He forgot how to talk because he's traumatized with what happened.
That would be a good plot element, and probably it's way above this movie.
That would okay. You can maybe make an argument that that's what the filmmakers intended, but the filmmakers never at any point hint at it. They never do anything. So it's just assumption on our part.
Okay, no, they did just there actually.
Yeah, they are showcasing the fact that yes, actual trauma.
Yes, trauma. However, the movie never ties us into why he doesn't act like a human later on. It's just that he's sad, so...
Doesn't even have any kind of preservation instinct on wanting to return to the base that his father and his parents...
Nope! In fact, there's gonna be a perfect opportunity for him to return to that, but by then it'll just be forgotten.
It's because, remember, Jova, they still want to have the iconic scene from the first book with the me, Tarzan, you, Jane scene.
Which is why I ask... Why did they make him a full-grown kid at the time?
Remember, in the book, he's actually born in the jungle.
Now, mind you, I do know that there are stories of kids growing up in the wild with animals and becoming feral. Yes, I do get that. However, normally with those kids, it's at a very, very young age to the point where all they truly have known is living in the wild, essentially.
Hey, Jova.
Yes?
You know what I've noticed?
What?
We're 20 minutes in, and no Callum Lutz so far.
Oh my god.
He plays adult Tarzan.
Yeah. Yes.
But, okay, I guess I'll give it 1 point that I will give it over the Disney movie. Just one measly point for having no Rosie O'Donnell. So there's that at least.
Now we transition now to...
so it's like a monkey's paw.
I don't think
Rosie O'Donnell? Fine. We'll give you shitty animation. Oh, there's Callum Lutz.
There you go. There's Callum Lutz.
Also,
yes.
About and again, I'm going into things that the movie, is obviously not going to do. But since there are, genuine cases of this, maybe he just forgot how to speak because he's been around creatures that don't for so long, like how sometimes bilingual people can forget one of the languages they know if they speak in the other one enough, kind of thing.
I could maybe kind of get that. The problem is that you think that when he eventually does meet other humans, that might spark memories within him. Hell, even with
that's also true, yeah.
And yet it doesn't really, or at least not the ones that should matter in that regard.
Yeah. Here's what happened. Sorry, go on.
It feels like they really wanted to take cues from the Disney Tarzan movie while supposedly trying to do their own thing without realizing how things different can really lead to some plot holes.
My theory is that they really they wanted to have a more, they want to properly establish the parents taking the kid to the thing, and I'm guessing they couldn't do it if it was a baby. But at the same time, they also still want to have the me, Tarzan, you, Jane scene because that's the most iconic scene from the book. So we gotta have that.
Keep in mind, in order to have this, we have to have a contrived scene of the parents literally taking their kid to one of the most dangerous places in Africa instead of, leaving him with their very good friend, Mr. Porter.
Yeah, sure. It's kind of similar to how Anne with an E still has the slate breaking scene, even though in the context that they provide, it makes no sense to have that scene in.
It's also not as impactful anyway.
So, anyway, you're probably wondering...
In terms of both how it's presented and also how hard she hit him.
Now, my personal grievances about Callum Lutz aside, how is he in this movie?
I guess we'll have to hear soon enough.
I forget, did they actually have Callum Lutz himself doing the motion capture, or was he just the dubber?
Well, okay. Wasn't the mocap done by German actors, dubs, actually?
I wonder...
No, the mocap was done by
oh, really?
the main cast.
Okay.
Because from what I've seen in interviews, Reinhard Klaus does speak good enough English.
True.
Oh, okay, then.
And if I recall correctly, If I recall correctly,
this movie was made in German and then dubbed into English.
If I recall correctly,
it was made in English from the start.
Really?
Oh, wow. If I recall correctly, we did see some behind-the-scenes trailer footage where they did show actors in their mocap suits doing stuff. And okay, I'll just say this: Kellen Lutz is a terrible motion capture actor. Like, granted, maybe some of that isn't his fault from how the technology was handled, but no, he does not work with it well.
Kellen Lutz is just a bad actor, period. So
yeah, I really don't get why why Hollywood was trying to make him a thing to the point where they even had him being Expendables 3.
Well, Jova, there you go. Now you know how I felt back in the mid-90s with Pauly Shore. There you go.
So, yeah, most of the movie in this point is pretty much him just staring around looking at things. And you know what? That's not always a bad thing. You know, sometimes a Tarzan thing could take some quiet moments here. The problem?
Oh, no, that's not the issue.
Here's the problem. There is no substance to these bits whatsoever. It's really just him looking around, and you think maybe he has memories of stuff. Nope.
The thing is also, like, the overall storytelling is also very terrible. Like, we're 24 minutes in, and so far, and remember, this is a 90-minute movie, and so far, not aside from the obvious crash that killed his parents, barely, if any, character development has actually happened.
I guess the snake just decided to let him get away with that one.
Like, seriously, like, let's take a look at Kid Tarzan for a bit. Kid Tarzan is just a generic film boy who is whatever the plot needs him to be. There was no personality whatsoever established, and so far all adult Tarzan is doing is just walking, swimming.
Don't you see? It's the perfect Tarzan simulator. Now, where's the controller that I need to plug in?
Yeah, this feels like just watching someone play a PS2 game.
You know who I feel sorry for?
Who?
The composer.
Yeah.
Who is it again?
David Newman.
Oh God,
I've heard that name before.
He's gone from scoring The Brave Little Toaster and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure to this.
And A Christmas Story 2 and Big Mama's like father, like son.
So I just want you to keep in mind, humans do come through regularly, that this is apparently the first time Tarzan has run into them all these years.
Also, I would at the very least, David Newman more recently has scored for the Green Eggs and M TV series.
Oh my God!
And he was also involved in West Side Story.
Also,
the 2021 film.
Also, in case you missed it, this girl just said, "Dad, I can't imagine how you do this every summer." So, reminder: he goes through here every summer, but apparently this is the first time Tarzan has seen another human.
Huh?
No, that's not.
What are the odds?
Again, okay, here's the thing about this. This is the kind of movie that constantly writes itself into corners that it only makes worse for itself. They established that Mr. Porter has been here every summer. That just really raises questions as to how Tarzan has never run across a human at that point. They made Tarzan a fully grown kid, which really opens up the puddles of why none of this is triggering anything. And again, if Mr. Porter has been for every summer, shouldn't Tarzan have recognized Mr. Porter, seeing as how Mr. Porter is literally friends with his parents?
I'm also bothered by the fact that for whatever reason they decided to make these people from fucking New York. These characters are supposed to be from London.
So, Pedro, which do you think is worse, this or the Tarzan and Jane show on Netflix?
I actually have never heard of that.
It's an Avia Rod show too.
Yeah.
There you go. That's all he needs to know. Anyway,
me and Pedro actually sampled a bit of it, and it's
something.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay. It's important to establish that right now in the chronology, Tarzan is only a late teen at this point. We're gonna have one more time skip in a bit. But
that's why Carlos.
Wait, this is supposed to be Jane?
Yes.
Pretty much what I was trying to say earlier. This technically is still not Kellen Lutz's Tarzan, since this is more so teenage Tarzan.
Well, to be fair, too, there's been very blonde Janes over the years with adaptations.
No, I don't mean that. Is that, again, considering how much of a different characters we were on the Jeep, I wasn't expecting this one to be Jane.
The problem is that, again, Jane is supposed to be a refined person with from London who has a pretty dress and an umbrella, like you saw in the Disney movie, basically. That's why she doesn't stay with Tarzan in the book, because Edgar Ryce Burroughs even establishes she would never survive, so she knew she couldn't be with Tarzan, basically. So she returns to
But
the
in
human
here,
world.
she's the typical rebellious teenager that says, "Dad, you and your nature and stuff. I want to get back to my iPhone."
I mean, again, I get wanting to update things because there's been plenty of adaptations that have adapted the source material from, as if it was the time it was set in. So I get wanting to update things, but I don't know, someone tells me they're going to butcher it.
Excuse me, that's a cassowary. What's he doing in Africa?
That's exactly what me and Pedro asked the first time we commentated on this. Yeah, apparently the director really failed at geography or, animal geographics.
I think what they get is that the meteorite has altered the local fauna around it in some kind of way. In a process similar to what Final Fantasy XII implies with the Great Crystal around when he plays in the forest.
Mate, one of your guesses in danger, shoot the thing.
But the problem is that instead of making a made-up complete dinosaur, they just put a cassowary and put teeth on it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And here's what I was asking back in 2013 when I first saw this movie. Why the fuck are there carnivorous ostriches? Remember, I didn't know the name of this thing.
Yeah.
Carnivorous ostriches in my Tarzan movie. What the fuck? I get it. Okay, to be fair, this is something Edgar Ryce Burroughs would do, but...
There are at least a couple of stories that have Tarzan dealing with some kind of monstrosity because there is also one where he travels to the center of the earth. So it's not too out of the ordinary.
Wait, what's this bit? Wait, okay, so she just got bitten by a poisonous snake. Wait until you see her reaction.
Well, ain't that just something?
You joke.
That's not good. Oh no.
You should probably seek medical
attention.
Yeah.
That's not an issue. This version of Jane is not very bright.
Okay.
But
maybe
there's a snake that's literally called 7 feet because that's little distance that you perform before you die.
Infatuoid, this movie does Jane really, really dirty, but I can only talk about that in the ending of the movie.
Oh god.
Okay. Also, Dwibs. Yeah, updating. Okay, that's fine. I'm not saying that the story can't work if Jane is not a refined lady from England. I understand. But to go out of the way to turn every character into Americans for no reason, because remember, this is supposed to be a British story. I don't.
Also,
I know. I'm not a huge fan of it myself. As a Brit speaking here. What I'm saying is, I wouldn't have minded them doing, modernizing the characters, but keep them British.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, what I'm seeing here, the characterizations are so boring. It wouldn't have mattered what nationality they are.
Yeah, Dweeb's already realized the major problem, the primary problem with this movie. The characters are bland and underdeveloped. There's very little personality in characters that is given to them. They're just generic archetypes and they never rise beyond that point.
Also, I'm guessing just one suck was enough for the poison? Because that's really what he did, just once and then he took it away.
Wait until you see how he heals it.
Oh god, please don't tell me that the leaf is going to magically get into her body like in Quest for Camelot.
Okay, the idea of a leaf being applied like that for some particular medicinal herbs is something as old as mankind with various degrees of effect. But and I can't believe that Tarzan has actually come to understand the flora of our jungle. But
it is a matter of what liquid some leaves can secrete. Yeah.
That scene just makes me wish I was watching George of the Jungle right now.
Watch out for the CGI. Personal. Okay. Part of me kind of understands what they're going for because, again, living with the gorillas always, in strict contact, he doesn't understand something as this kind of personal space.
Well, yeah, in fact, that's a good point. In fact, that's a good point. When fucking George of the Jungle, a spoof of the book, gets the material better, you have problems.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm gonna be honest. This is actually putting me to. So So
It is
so if
like
you-
it's
so
not
if
pretty.
you hear me randomly snore, you know what happened.
So, would you say that it's a step up from, your true story?
Okay. To be fair. Okay, and don't get me wrong. I'm in no way defending that she immediately falls for him just by seeing him once. Both in the Disney movie and also in the book, it's clearly established that it's his strong animalistic eyes that make Jane,
she left behind something for him.
like the book establishes that Tarzan's eyes is one of the big reasons why Jane finds him, unforgettable. I guess that's the best word I can put, like from the get go. Because his eyes are incredibly, and the Disney movie also makes that known. So I can understand the whole those green eyes line, but it's not the best execution.
So here's another thing, though. So Jane just essentially told her father, Mr. Porter, that, she essentially met a man in the jungle. Now, I get that Mr. Porter's a bit skeptical, but he doesn't consider that maybe that might have to do with your friends who...
Yeah, it doesn't have any questions.
See what I mean about this being a really big plot hole? It's like the movie forgot that they knew the guy.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like it really feels like somebody took over after the prologue. It's so weird. Like, and yes, this is another problem. Like Jova said, the characters in this movie are morons, and they never at any point act like a normal person would in these situations.
Also, look at this. This is where the helicopter crash landed.
Crashed.
So how did Tarzan end up all the way down below, out in his seat?
It's not even that. Okay, Academy is for around roughly 10 years, I guess, for the time being. But and probably it was the influence of the meteorite around, because as we see, it changed the environment. But again, the fact that the tree managed to already engulf it that kind of way, I don't have doubt that the lack of civilization, will allow vegetation to be more sprawling this kind of way. But again, roughly 10 years for having roots and branches that are this thick already.
And conveniently no corpses.
Oh.
That's the thing. That's the thing too. Yes, the movie never really establishes, all those powers of the meteorite. Like, it doesn't really ever properly explain that that's the reason why all these weird things are happening. It's just they happen, and the movie never really explains things.
Okay, and that's the thing. Apparently he doesn't remember his parents, even though, again, he was old enough that he should.
Okay,
be getting
this
memories.
part, I can't believe this, because one thing that kind of trauma can have is literally having you block memories intentionally, and something like this kind of awakening is the genuine reaction, that this type can have.
I think
so at the very least, the movie did some more. Oh, come on, really? This is how he develops his scream?
Yes. Parental trauma.
Okay. It's not as offensive as the way its clobbering time gets its origin in Fantastic.
Also from Constantine films.
But it's at least equally stupid.
It really is. And okay, look, I could maybe
just about complimenting the movie. What the fuck?
I could maybe get that. The problem is that I don't feel like the movie eased enough into showing us that he was using the whole Tarzan act to mask his trauma. If anything, they just show him doing stuff, and well,
the shard.
And even then, the execution of that scene that we just saw, right?
And now Tarzan creates his own treehouse here.
Okay, so I want to talk about the execution of that scene that Taya was complimenting. Yes, it's a good idea, but the overall way the scene was paced, the pacing was way too fast. Like, we should have seen him look at the picture, maybe have a flashback here and there, and then have him burst into tears after beating the thing with the hands and everything. Like, pace this properly. Let this sink in. But no, it went by way too quickly.
It's also not helped by the editing. You can see that some scenes just happens for 2 seconds, stops, and then we cut immediately to the next shot.
Oh, by the way, if I recall correctly, Dwibs, that bird has a name, I believe.
It has.
I believe it started with an R.
Randy Orton. I don't know.
It was a name that annoyed you.
It's been a while.
Do you remember, Pedro?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I was trying to...
The bird, I
parrot,
believe, had... Tarzan's pet bird has a name
right.
that really annoyed Dwiz.
Oh, yes. Yes. Take a wild guess, Dwiz, what the bird's name is.
Ripto.
Nope. Think more Disney.
I give up.
Roll one.
It's Rafiki.
Why?
Because
Wait, really?
Disney!
Yeah, because the movie isn't doing enough to make me want to watch any other animated
Also-
film. Sorry, it's okay. Because this movie doesn't make me want to watch almost any other animated movie other than this anymore.
Also, isn't Tarzan traditional sidekick instead a small monkey called Cheetah?
Also, I love how Kala, and for the record, Kala's supposed to be a very important figure in Tarzan's life, and these two barely interact throughout the movie. It's criminal.
Yeah, there's that too.
One of my favorite scenes in the Disney movie is that scene where he's banging his head on the water in frustration because of the prejudice that the gorillas have against him. And then his mom, Kala puts her hands next to his, showcasing the similarity in the hands, to showcase that we're not so different, Like,
and that you'll be in my heart.
Yeah, the thing about that... Okay, when we get to that movie, I don't want to get into a rant about that.
Okay, look, I'll just say it. Love the soundtrack. It's just about how it's
Also,
implemented. But
Who
anyway...
is actually the narrator?
Ah, yes, the narrator.
It's not Cullen Lott, so they're that much.
The narrator is just narrator. He's
It's
played
not
by
even Professor Porter himself, I guess.
basically, the
Well, the
narrator
narrator
is
is
played
voiced by a guy named
Jason
Jason Hildebrand.
Okay.
So now, let's cut ahead years. Now we get to Kellen Lutz, and except that's the thing,
So-
Tarzan looks way skinny here.
What's with this logo?
Okay, so after this time skip, the movie never establishes how old he is at this point, but if we go by the book, right now he's 21 years old.
And yes, now he is to be played by Kellen Lutz. And I'm gonna be honest, full adult Tarzan looks the ugliest of the three Tarzans.
You know what's interesting? Tarzan was 21 years old, and when Jane in the book comes to the jungle, she's 19. Considering the time that the book was written, I'm surprised it was actually well thought out in terms of age consent and stuff like that.
Oh no, the bad gorilla is wrecking Tarzan's home.
Yeah. Also, Pedro, probably a coincidence considering, Edgar Ryce Burroughs' general ideologies.
Yeah.
That's why I'm surprised.
That's why I'm surprised too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in this version, Tarzan built his own treehouse.
Which is a bit odd because who even taught him how to do that kind of construction work?
In fact, why did he make a treehouse if he's, living like an ape?
Remember, in the Disney movie, and to a lesser extent in the book, it's the parents who grow themselves a little shelter. And in the book, Tarzan is even born in said shelter.
So it made sense that he could have some connection there, but here, I guess Tarzan realizes that he's different from the others, except, okay, look, if that were the case, fine, except the movie never really
looking at me like that?
And here's our villain.
Yeah, immediately we cut to something so different. My brain gets whiplash.
And this is our villain, Clayton. Yes,
And
I did not stutter. The villain is actually called Clayton in this movie.
This guy looks like the most 7th gen character ever.
And there's Jane now. Oh, I love this one here. And there you go. Jane is with the Society of African Wildlife.
So it turns out that Clayton here actually inherited Tarzan's family's company.
Mm-hmm.
What will this have to do
when... be more cheeky.
What will this have to do? Now, what will this have to do when he eventually meets Tarzan? Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Brilliant.
See, here's the thing. In the book, John and Alice Clayton are the Viscount and Lady Greystoke.
Viscount?
No, is it Viscount that you say? Viscount.
Yeah.
Okay. There's an S here, so I'm having a bit of trouble.
Yeah, I didn't
but-
know either.
The S is silent.
Okay, sure.
Oh, it's literally vibranium.
Hey, Pedro, remember when this was a part of the trailer?
Yes, basically, Shiroi. Notice how this happens halfway into the movie, right?
Yeah.
That's how the trailer is. This scene that we're watching right now also shows up halfway into the trailer. I'm not kidding you. The trailer is a perfect recreation of what it feels like to watch this movie. So kudos to the marketing team for being 100% honest about what movie we're getting.
Okay.
I guess.
Okay. So apparently in this movie, Tarzan's family name is Greystone.
Yeah.
Castle Greystone.
It's Greystoke, actually.
And like every great traditionally evil company.
Wait. Stoke, Clayton. This is copying names of places I've lived.
Yes, Dwebs. It's in case remember, Dwebs. This is supposed to be a British story, even though it's New York now for some reason.
Why? Is it this?
I'm not even a Brit, and even I'm annoyed by this.
Close
Why?
the door.
I mean,
Why did you leave the door open?
I don't
it'd be
know.
like
Because he's rude.
it's just like it'd be like if they made a movie based on I don't know if they tried John Carter again, but John Carter runs a company called Sea Swan or I don't know the enemy runs a group called Rochesters.
Jane's
Also-
eyes are scary.
Also, we cut back to the scene of them getting through the expedition, and just like the one from Professor Porter before, it's a very small expedition. In terms of, but
Also, I have a question.
go on.
Why isn't the Sabor in this movie? For the record, the Sabor is a very important figure in the book, as well as you might have guessed from watching the Disney movie. So where's the
It's
Sabor?
essentially a symbol. It's a symbol of Tarzan essentially becoming full-blown adult, essentially by defeating it.
So, this is Jane all grown up and oh my god! Madonna, they've
Seriously.
cloned you! And the clone got microwaved too much.
I think this is the annoying union between Mars Needs Moms and Normal the North.
Oh god.
I don't.
God, no.
Hey, by the way, guys, I'm about to reveal another interesting fact about the book. Okay, remember how in the Disney movie Kerchak, by the end, finally accepts Tarzan as his son right before dying in his arms?
Yes.
Let's just say that's once again, things that were changed because in the original book, what happens was eventually, as Tarzan gets stronger and smarter than all the apes, Kerchak gets jealous of Tarzan and tries to kill him. They start fighting. Tarzan kills Kerchak and takes his place as the king of the apes.
They
Makes sense considering the fact that he was the one who killed the parents, so it's a unintentional revenge in that kind of sense.
Yeah.
They kind of changed it in this version where Kerchak, or I guess the gorilla who's supposed to be the equivalent to Kerchak, actually gets killed by a bad gorilla, and now it's that bad gorilla that we're supposed to hate.
Also, no one is telling him to not use that kind of spray near a fucking bonfire.
Like, there's a label on it that probably tells you to not do that.
Yeah, that label should at this point that label should probably read "Don't spray it here, you dipshit."
Also, of course, the evil corporation will, of course, be interested in using the meteorite as an energy source of any kind.
Okay, we're halfway
Oh
through
my
the
god,
movie.
really? We're doing this?
Wait. Is that's their plan?
That's a bra.
No,
Yes,
because
doesn't-
I was like, what? Like, what's the villain's motivation?
This is what the...
Simple, Dutch.
What the fuck is
I guess
that?
it's a practical use, I suppose. Shira, remember, people have discovered that bras are very effective as actually replacement for masks. So
Yeah,
Question,
here's the
Dutch.
thing. Before you get into that, T.O., we call them battle-ready armor.
Oh my god.
kids next door.
Also, Tarzan is trying out a new hairstyle. Also,
Oh
Dutch, to answer your
yeah, Tarzan
This is
with
what
the
the movie passes
shades
for
on.
comment.
Can you please leave
Oh,
Elton John
hey.
out of this, please?
What they're going
that-
for?
I
Looks
think
like,
that
it looks
I think-
like someone trying to cosplay a member of the Beatles.
I think to me it was more Ozzy Osbourne, but
Well,
go on,
when
Pedro.
I think of red glasses like those, I usually think of Elton John. So, okay. Deji, about the villain. Question: have you seen James Cameron's Avatar?
Yes.
It's the exact same thing. He wants the unobtainium rock.
Get it? Jane thinks it was monkeys that did it, and now Tarzan is watching her undress.
To be fair, he hasn't been taught decorum, so this is it's understandable. You know, instance.
Like, it's still an uncomfortable watch, but yeah, like, I get it. It makes sense. Like,
and then the plot twist is that he's actually BS. And then the plot twist is that he's actually been BSing, forgetting what it's like to be human, and this is just his excuse to be a peeping Tom.
And it's not, and sure, it's not like the movie portrays it as a positive thing anyway.
No, it's more like, look at this idiot.
Speaking of idiots.
Alright, let me check who our villain is played by. Trevor St. John. Isn't that the Cas voice actor?
No, that's John St. John.
Ah, okay. Oh, it was in The Bourne Ultimatum. Okay.
That's...
Damn.
Wow.
He's mostly a TV actor.
That's not a very subtle threat there.
Mm-hmm.
Professor Porter himself is played by Joe Cappelletti. Oh, he's mostly an anime voice actor.
Jesus, that's
What's the style of a not joke?
Sorry, could you speak up? I could barely hear you there.
Sorry.
I thought you were just a figment of my imagination by mosquito bites.
Sure.
Wow. Seriously,
this is the other problem.
Okay,
it's not just Kellen Lutz. The voice acting in this movie is so bad.
Jane is voiced by Spencer Locke. She was in 2 of the Paul W. Sanderson Resident Evil movies.
Good for her.
Okay, you know better the character probably, Joe. She's called Kmart.
Oh God, Kmart.
Don't know nothing about that.
We'll get to that when we cover those movies.
But she's mostly also being in TV roles.
You mean to tell me that you were only doing this for money and not doing it to help the animals?
What was your first clue?
And now also she thinks that her dad's been lying to her, even though her dad was clearly blackmailed into doing it for her safety.
Allow me to also elaborate on the Greystoke thing that we were talking about. See, in the books, Greystoke is the estate for which Tarzan is the heir to, not a company.
And this makes...
But I get it. You want
to be cheeky with the naming.
And this makes Jane so angry that she's willing to run off into the very dangerous jungle.
Yeah, this is another thing about Jane. Jane is a fucking moron. So you get angry that Clayton was just here for profit, and your solution to this is just veer off from the fucking road and go into an unknown place that you know nothing about and get yourself killed. Brilliant job, honey. Brilliant job.
I thought Tarzan was supposed to be the one stuck as a child.
You know what? Natural selection. This bitch is too stupid to live. Goodbye, honey.
Seriously, that's how she would have died. I'm mad at you, Dad. Oh, well, I fell off a cliff. Guess I'll die.
You see what I mean about this movie really doing Jane dirty?
And don't worry, it gets worse.
And don't get me wrong. And don't get me wrong. In the book, Jane was not by no means an interesting character either. She was, because Edgar Ryce Burroughs, like Theo said, wasn't exact.
For not really having. Okay, 1 or 2 characters. Occasionally, you get some stuff like, say, Dejatoris from the John Carter books. But no, as a general rule of thumb, they're not really that well developed.
Okay, also, I don't care how strong Tarzan has become. There's no way a human can wrestle an alligator.
Not only that, he managed to stab an alligator with a knife.
Well,
one thing.
he aimed for the underbelly, to be honest, Joe.
Okay, a sabor and an ape, that's more credible. Now, an alligator, no.
I think that was a crocodile,
I
actually.
mean, there's the suspension of disbelief. Trust me, that's like the least baffling thing about this movie.
Yes, but here's the thing.
Volcano in Africa where it snows.
Well, but here's the thing, Dej. I would normally agree with you if this was like the Disney movie, but this movie is clearly going for a more of a realistic style in comparison.
Yeah.
He survived a helicopter crash.
It's stupid. And he just roared to turn around. What was the point of that? To show that we have the money in our budget?
Hold on, this scene.
Ew, it's like I'm in the jungle or something.
No, honey, you came to the jungle. What were you expecting? What?
You are not one to talk.
Come on, never watch Bear Grylls.
There you go. See, now all of a sudden there's absolutely no recollection of how human speech works for him.
Even though he has... That's the thing. He said her name even before she started supposedly teaching him how to talk, so which is it, movie?
Wow. You really had to rip off the Disney movie, didn't you?
Also, I get it that he's supposed to be stilted, but even with that, Kellen Lutz is not working for me on this role.
Oh, here we go.
How do you even know the name Tarzan in this point?
Remember, he named his monkey
Tarzan.
earlier.
You, Jane. Oh. There you go. He said it. He said it, everybody. He said it.
Go home now.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Even that's the thing. Kellen Lutz can't even do awkward conversations correctly.
I know, right? Like, you'd think with all the awkward and stilted dialogue he often shows in his acting that this would be up his alley, but nope, he can't even do that right.
He's just like Justin Chatwin. He's just a terrible actor.
I mean, okay, I'll give Justin Chatwin credit. He at least seems to be a decent guy, unlike Kellen Lutz.
Also, what's the background for the Lorax is doing in here?
I don't know.
I was going to say illumination-looking background.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, that's a thing. Clearly, someone did not study what the actual geography of Africa is, because we're going to get some
what country is Tarzan meant to live in? I know it's Africa. I know it's a continent, Africa, but which one specifically?
The western coastal jungles of equatorial Africa, meaning somewhere in the center.
Also, you gotta love this. You know, I know we were just fighting a crocodile, but let's go swimming in the water again.
Equatorial
What's
Africa.
What's this pop?
I know this. Hang on, I know this song.
You do?
This face.
I know this song. It's Paradise from Coldplay.
Yeah.
Coldplay is in... There you go, guys. Coldplay is in a Tarzan movie. So, you know, I'll just say this.
Yes, Pedro.
I'm sorry, Shiroi, but that face that Jane just made, that is a gross face if I've ever seen one.
No, I agree.
Also, I'm going to say this. For all the problems we may have with Phil Collins, I will take him 100 times over in a Tarzan movie before Coldplay.
Those songs were actually made for the movie.
And if you're going to use Coldplay, why not use one of their 2000 songs?
Also, judging... Okay, I think it was either told in a narration.
Oh, here we go.
There you go.
Rafiki is his name. Again, because... Okay, I have to wonder, were they
You want to get the Disney audience, don't you, movie?
I have to wonder,
seriously.
Given that Frozen came out this year, did they really think they were going to compete with Disney this year? Because I gotta say that
it was released. The only reason the H70 mentions here, I will check more detailedly on IMDb. But the major reasons it mentions are 17th of October 2013 in Russia and 20th of February 2014 for Germany. I don't know when was the American one.
I think that may have come out in 2014 over here. I don't recall.
Again, I'll just check on IMDb, don't worry.
And there you go. And by the way, that was the romance, by the way. Like,
and what does Clayton do? How does he...
What?
Yeah, okay.
Porter could not recognize him, but he can?
I know, right? You gotta love it. Porter, the supposed good friend of these people, of the Greystokes, never recognized him, but Clayton does at the first spot. And he immediately starts shooting because he assumes that Tarzan will want his family inheritance or the Greystoke company back.
again,
Don't
get me wrong. Go on.
That's the thing. You know, maybe if there was an interest from Tarzan taking back the Greystoke Company, okay, but he never shows an interest in it. At all. So, Clayton doing this is pointless.
Okay, allow me. This character is voiced on William Cecil Clayton, the unwitting usurper of the Greystoke estate. Not the usurper of the Greystoke Company, but I've read it about that. Giant enemy crab.
Why?
That's actually a weak point for massive damage.
Yes.
Also, okay, two things.
What the
Wait, a strange in the world never seen by man. That's just our excuse to go flipping nuts with the scenery.
Welcome to Pandora, everybody. Seriously.
Again, considering it's supposed to be close to the meteorite, I can't believe the fact that the influence of some kind of radioactivity mutated the flora and the fauna around it.
That's the thing. The movie never establishes that meteor is the reason. Mind you, it's not a bad assumption to make, but it's something that the movie never establishes, even though it would be so easy to establish it.
Also, two things. Geography-wise, at least the synopsis of the movie mentions that the meteor crashed in Uganda, so we should be roughly around there.
Uganda, you say? So does Tarzan know the way?
Well, at least it's not a Joseph Kony joke. But in second, for the release date, when it comes to the USA, it was released on May 9th, 2014 for a limited release, while for the UK it was for May 2nd.
It's one of those things where, like Jova said, yes, it is perfectly fair to assume that the meteorite did all this crap. But you also have to understand that this movie is clearly aiming for families. You know, like kids are going to watch this, obviously.
What?
So I feel like it wouldn't really hurt for the filmmakers to have some kind of scene where this gets properly explained.
Hell, forget that.
know?
All it would have taken is just one line over the prologue. The meteorite changed the area around, or something of that regard. There.
Another thing, by the way.
Hey,
So we went from
what the
realism to suddenly giant enemy
shit?
worms.
Wait, is that a xenomorph plant?
Okay. See, this is the problem with the movie as well. The movie tries to use the mocap character design stuff to go for a more realistic look, but still also puts this thing. It clashes. It clashes with.
Also, the quick editing certainly doesn't help.
So this is what I
Also-
mean. Like, you know, okay, we thought it was going to get... No dodging.
Yeah, Jane is a moron. Just
But,
go on.
okay, you know, we thought it was going to get kooky from the trailer, but I assure you, the trailers did not show all this outlandish stuff. So,
Nope.
we didn't know it was going to get this crazy. And don't
Oh,
worry...
the trailer didn't even show the dinosaurs.
Yeah, that too.
Also, sorry, go on.
And here's another thing. The only reason that Tarzan and Jane are going to come across the artifact is only because Clayton chased them off into the jungle. Like, this whole plot is just people accidentally tripping over themselves towards the finish line.
And by the way, two things. One, that bit with Jane and Tarzan swimming in the river and eating those fruits. Yeah, that was the romance, by the way. The movie will spend no more time trying to flesh out their relationship whatsoever. And much like the Disney movie, this is one of those variations where Jane does stay here with Tarzan. So yeah, it's going to be unearned, as you can probably guess.
Anyway, you were saying something to you?
Two things. One, not necessarily for the synopsis, but it was mentioned in dialogue, because it's mentioned that it was talked in dialogue, that the entire reason why there was the initial Porto expedition and this one is because they know that the meteor possesses some kind of energy that they want to extract to use as an energy source. So we do know that this is not just a rock, but it does possess some kind of energy. So it's not too far an assumption that this kind of energy has at least infected the land, kind of like vibranium to an extent for the Black Panther mythos, Second, I forgot. My bad, sorry.
But Jane is awfully very trusting for this guy that she literally just met, like...
Well, to be fair, he has saved
minutes.
him multiple times. Saved her multiple times. So.
Not only that, but the people that she was supposed to trust shot at her, so she ain't exactly big on options.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
What exactly is supposed to be the story here?
Dwibs, we appear to be in the cave from Pan in Neverland. That's the fairy dust.
Instead.
No, Jova, you got it wrong. The Warner Bros. Tarzan movie will come out 3 years after this.
No, okay, here's the basic gist of it, Dwibs. Plot-wise, this is basically an Avatar movie. James Cameron's Avatar, I mean. Guest starring Tarzan. Because there's not that much Tarzan stuff in this movie.
And guess what? This is going to lead them to the area where his parents initially found the artifact. That's right,
also,
they came in from
pixie dust, it's Pixum.
Also, see, they just came in through the back way. And
like you said, the later stories, Tarzan stories, I do know for a fact that they have Tarzan more as a spectator and fighting weird things. And it's more, again, just a spectator where other stuff is in the focus, so like him finding a city or a civilization or something like that. But having that attached to the origin story, I do agree. It's
I'm going to interrupt you here. Now suddenly he remembers.
Also, I have to say, I mean, at least the voice acting is matching how dull the faces look.
Also, wait. And look at this, now he can speak perfect fluence. So let me get this straight.
The meteor is not pleased with you.
Let me just get this straight, guys. Looking at a flipping picture of him and his parents didn't do anything, but picking up a hammer that his dad held? No, that brings everything back. What is happening?
Also, the meteor did reacted only when it was struck down and shipped away. Why did it reacted just when Tarzan picking up the hammer?
Insert Super Mario Brother
sound effect.
Maybe it's like
Insert
you
Super Mario
said.
Brothers jumping sound effects.
Maybe it just has a mind of its own and hates the Greystoke.
And Kala.
Right, I forgot what I was mentioning. Yes, Jova, the leader male gorilla in this version is also Kerchak.
Wait. Okay, so here's what's different, though. I guess in this case... Wait, was Kerchak the one who kills Kala's mate in the book, though? Because remember, at the start of the film...
No. Remember, in the book, it's Tarzan that kills Kerchak.
No. I'm talking about, does Kerchak start out as, like, the leader of the gorillas in the book as well?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So my point here is, like, well, in this movie, he does not start off as the leader of the gorillas. He actually kills Kala's mate, who was the original leader of the gorillas, as we saw.
Tublat.
Yeah. Not that it matters, because, like I was about to say, Kala, are you actually going to do something in this movie? You're supposed to be Tarzan's adopted mother?
Well, I guess she's going to see if she approves of her son's new lover.
My bad. I got confused because I only read superficially that part of the synopsis. Kerchak was the gorilla that got killed at the beginning. Tublat is the one that killed him.
So I was right.
So in this case, Kerchak gets killed. After he was at the beginning, it's replaced by generic new gorilla character. Do not steal.
I can tell you that there's no. I don't remember that character from the books. Granted, it's been a few years, but I'm pretty confident that's not a character from the books.
Okay, well, it's like I said in this version. In case people remember the Disney version, they don't want Kerchak to be the bad guy. So instead, here's this random gorilla who just took over after killing Kerchak.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it's mentioned here that in the first book, Tublat is the leader of the rogue tribes of gorillas.
That roar. If it was meant to intimidate the enemy, then I'm sorry, it would have a hard time intimidating my nephew.
So you're asking Kellen Lutz to act. You understand the implications of your request.
What are you talking about, Pedro? He was such an intimidating villain in Twilight. Oh, wait.
Wait, he was a villain?
Yes,
Yeah.
he was the main bad guy of the first Twilight movie.
That's the thing, he was so ineffectual that I thought he was the I thought it was like a neutral figure.
Okay, I don't remember. Sorry, he played Emmett Cullen. I don't know what member family he was in those movies, but he appears in all of those.
What, in all the Twilight movies? No, he plays...
Oh, he was actually. It was apparently okay. I really have to go back and reread the book then. Huh. Two Blood. Let me see.
No, it's just like how Kala's first baby died.
Then again, even so, it's not Two Blood that kills Kerchak. You stupid movie.
Again, this movie showcased the fact that the makers did knew about the source material and just decided to play a bit chic and fast and loose with that. It's weird.
In some cases, you can maybe argue it's them trying to make their own unique take on it. The problem is that they take too many bits from the Disney movie, to the point where the villains even call
Clayton.
Clayton.
Trying to ape up that.
Oh my god!
Please throw me off the cliff.
Oh my god! I love this. The gorilla literally is trying to stab him with the knife.
Your survival will be your suffering.
Jovan, have you ever seen a video of people accidentally giving weapons to apes of any kind? They're fucking dangerous.
Wow, I genuinely forgot about this. Man.
Don't do it, Tarzan. You're better than this.
Huh.
Of course, he's gonna put it on the ground. There we go.
Slow motion.
Frame rate fucking died.
Wait. How does a movie? How does a movie have frame rate problems?
Dwibs, Tarzan 2013. Tarzan 2013, Dwibs.
There you go. Okay. Did you see Jane's face right now? So yeah, nothing gets Jane off better than watching her man beat the crap out of a gorilla.
And
that was bananas.
But don't you see in this version? Don't you see in
You're
this?
hilarious, Dej.
Thank you.
Don't you see in this version? Tarzan doesn't kill the other gorilla. No, the other gorilla just leaves peacefully, because that's how a gorilla would actually react.
Despite the fact that we established at the beginning that Two Blood did the cheat in order to win.
Yeah, he's the guy who killed when he initially lost. So why doesn't he do that here? He just goes, whatever. Retire.
Okay, go on.
It's inconsistent is what it is. Congrats, you can't even get a simplistic gorilla character consistent in writing this movie.
Man, I really have to go back and reread that book. Okay. I just took a look at what Theo just found. And yeah, I totally forgot about this part.
So what, T-Block actually was a thing in the book?
Okay,
like
basically, here's what happens. In the original book, Two Blood was actually Kala's actual proper partner, and Kerchak was not Kala's partner.
So Kerchak and Kala were cheating on Two Block.
Well, no, it's not so much that. It's more so the fact that Two Blood, eventually, after Kala took Tarzan in, Two Blood got jealous of Tarzan too. Damn, what's up with this book and jealous apes? But the point is, Two Blood got jealous, and at one point, Tarzan, in order to protect Kala, had to fight to kill Two Blood, which of course was all later to kill Kerchak. So yeah, Tarzan kills a shit ton of apes in the first book.
So Tarzan kills off both Kerchak and Two Blood?
Yes. In here, though, we have Two Blood kill Kerchak, which again is weird.
But don't you see? It's because we want to make Kerchak a good guy, like in the Disney movie.
See, here's the thing. I understand that you don't want...
Who are you?
He is the reject military commander from James Cameron's Avatar. Seriously, he looks like an animated version of the main...
He reminds me the leader of a team of small soldiers.
Okay, here's the thing. I can understand that it would be hard to sell the character of Tarzan to a mainstream audience in today's day and age if you have him kill...
Hold on, page. Hold on. There's a page to finish.
I understand that it's hard to sell a character like Tarzan to a mainstream audience if you allow Tarzan to kill animals left and right.
Wait. I'm sorry. Jane just said, "I love you, Tarzan. I always will." I mean, don't get me wrong. I get that he's done a lot for her, but really? Love?
Okay,
Go on, Pedro.
don't get me wrong. This is bad here, but it's also bad in the book. Yes, Jova, the romance in the book is not good either. In the book, Jane is just there to be a love interest for Tarzan and nothing else. She's completely bland and devoid of any sort of personality of her own. But again, Edgar Rice Burroughs was a complicated guy. I'll just put it that way. But yeah, like I was saying, I can understand that it will be hard. Don't worry, he's just menacing because he's evil. I can understand it's hard to sell a character like it's hard to sell the character Tarzan to people if you just allow them to kill animals left and right. But that doesn't mean you have to turn him into a saint. You can still have him do bad things.
Honestly, if anything, these movies actually remind me.
This bit here. I love what happens now. Believe it or not, things are about to get interesting.
Shit.
Not just that too. No,
Kawa's
no.
gonna take the bullet. Oh no!
Oh no! Kawa is
Oh
dead.
no, not her.
Yeah.
His mother
Again,
lives. Well, I mean, his gorilla mother.
This is why I was complaining about them not doing anything with Kawa's character. As a result, this death scene feels completely hollow.
When we were at the point where Tarzan and Jane were going through the cave and they found the shot and wherever, I had a moment where I was like, wait, aren't there gorillas supposed to be in this movie?
I know, right?
They were gone for most of the movie, so like, yeah, I like Pedro said, like I legit don't feel anything for this at all.
Bonk.
So, Kellen, could you maybe try to, Okay, Kellen, I know. Could you please try to convince me, Kellen, that you're not a robot? Please?
If only. Again, it's... Tarzan is not even supposed to be really that hard a role. Okay, I mean, no. I'm not going to say, like, there's no nuance to playing Tarzan. However, you make ape noises, and you say often singular sentences. You can't even do that properly.
Also, I love how they did not even restrain, they just put him in a wooden cage.
But, hey, you want to know what's even better? They put him right next to the dead body of his mother. What dicks?
This is a combination of Bambi and Dumbo. What the fuck?
Oh no! It's not like he has friends with opposable thumbs or
Seriously,
something.
and why did they left even his knife on him?
Hold on, Tim. Check this out.
And now it's time for his funeral service.
Well, okay, I guess time to bury Kala.
Bless the composer of the score, he's actually been trying.
Yes. Imagine having Tarzan 2013 on your resume for that serious scene.
Of course you realize this means war.
No, Pedro, the Warner Bros. Tarzan movie will be released 3 years after this.
Oh yeah, how was that movie?
I don't know.
Oh, hold on. And now, hold on.
What's this?
Oh, he's using the same leaves that he used for the poison wound before?
Even though she was...
She got shot. First of all, where's the blood?
And she
got shot, there should be blood.
And she looked dead throughout the night.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't any sign of her breathing.
Even if it was a case of shock, due to the impact, that doesn't work that way.
My dude...
There you go. See, Dwebs, I told you, this is an Avatar movie, basically.
My dude, you run a company. Kidnapping people and zip tying them to chairs may not be the best thing for it.
So let me get this straight. You want to cash in on what was at the time Avatar mania. And your solution is to turn Tarzan into an Avatar ripoff.
Oh, while ripping off a lot of the Disney aspects at that.
Yeah.
Like I said, the military commander here looks like a cartoony version of the military commander from Avatar.
Jova, Spencer's going to try to act.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I also love that the military commander conveniently doesn't speak, so we don't have to use a voice actor for him.
What do? We fight.
Bye.
Yeah, Tarzan and his knife is gonna go up against an entire military and win.
Full of people with guns.
This is the scene. This is the scene. I love this scene.
He crosses across the snow and doesn't freeze from hypothermia, despite wearing only a loincloth. And look,
Yeah,
snow
Lord of the
next
Rings
to
shot,
lava.
No, to be fair, Jova, do you know what Mount Fuji is?
Okay, fair enough, but still.
Again, volcanoes that are high enough do have snow around the areas. But again, it probably is a take on the Kilimanjaro potentially. But
Soteo. Even Soteo. Are there snowy mountains in this part of Africa?
Kilimanjaro, like I said, it's a single mountain, but I forgot exactly how high, and it's technically an inactive volcano.
So these geniuses are going to get a very explosive rock by blowing it off.
If only there was any, and I mean any kind of world building in this thing. Like if I have to take a geography class in Africa to understand what's going on, there's a problem, filmmakers.
Like, okay, forget that. It feels like the geography in the movie itself is inconsistent at times too.
Not everybody knows about African geography, movie.
Again, these dumbasses are going to blow up the crystal to gather it. Even though they know, or should know, that the crystal is incredibly explosive itself.
Wow, it's a good thing these characters operate like video game NPCs.
So Hitman characters. Actually, the Hitman characters are smarter than
Oh god, in this bit. Isn't it beautiful, Jane? The diamonds. I know we may die, but isn't it beautiful, Jane?
Thank you. That's the first smart thing Jane has said in this entire movie.
You know,
honestly,
given our father acts, I wonder if that's where she gets her brains from.
Oh, now he talks, huh?
You want to say good? Okay, you're a creep.
And he's out.
Okay.
That was super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Now it's not the time to flirt, you two.
I was saying that guy looks like that soldier looked like a small soldier's character.
Yeah, like I was saying, yes. Like me and Teo have said, Jane in the books was also incredibly shallow and just falls for Tarzan in a way that doesn't feel earned or natural. Yes. Here's the thing: this is a 2013 production. It's a good opportunity to fix that problem because let's face it, I'm pretty confident even the most fervent of Edgar Ryce Burroughs fans will admit that Jane, the handling of Jane wasn't the best.
Don't worry, I'll be there in a minute. Even though it potentially blows me up, I'll be fine.
Again, the solution that this movie tries to have is, let's make Jane the rebellious teenager, but immediately, as soon as she falls in love with Tarzan, immediately becomes instead, what the... Okay, that explosive guy stood up. Look at that! He's standing out so much with these colors, close colors.
I actually really liked what they did in the Disney movie, where they make it so that her father studies gorillas and she herself shares that same passion, and that's why she works with him on that. That's actually a clever way of giving her a reason to be there, giving her a reason to be interested in the jungle, and therefore Tarzan. Okay. And they managed to make her an interesting character without necessarily turning her into a character that's, again, they managed to make her interesting without deviating from the refined English lady that she's supposed to be, basically.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That is a terrible line.
Yeah.
Like, that is a horrible, horrible line. Don't monkey with me. What does that even mean?
Tio's been making jokes of a similar caliber throughout this.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Yes. And I know I'm not one to judge out of anyone in this call.
I'm the first to say that they are terrible.
That's the thing, Shiroi. This is the kind of joke that we should be making, not the
now, God decides to get involved. That's the only
Seriously,
reason.
okay. If there's one thing that I can critique the meteor in this movie, it's its behavior. It's almost as if it's sentient, but not. We don't even know to what kind of degree.
Again, there's zero world building in this movie.
Like,
If anything, I would like to know more about that, but no, the movie prefers to have shit like this.
Oh, great.
But yeah,
are we
if
watching Planet of the Apes?
No.
I wish.
You wish.
If anything, this movie convinced me ultimately that a modern game in the style of a modern Tarzan game in the style of the open world formula I've been seeing in stuff like Batman Arkham City or Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor is perfectly possible. And if anything, I kind of want that
Wow.
one like that now.
Clayton
curious,
really wants to kill Tarzan for some reason. Whoopsie.
I'm curious, Duez, would you take even Tim Burton's movie at this point?
That is actually pretty tough to decide, to be honest.
What, you're telling me you didn't like Helena Bonham Carter as a sexy monkey?
No.
What?
Yeah, that's okay. First of all, Dej, I think even you at this point know that Tim Burton and Helena Bonham Carter have a thing for each other.
Well, it had. I think.
Oh yeah, I know. I was like, she was a monkey.
A sexy monkey, specifically. Yeah, there
Come
are
on, Jane. Come on, Jane. If you're failing the jump, you just need to say shit.
Because what would I rather watch? A movie that has somehow less going on in it.
And now Titanic?
I was gonna say ripping off everyone.
So what would I rather watch? A movie that somehow has less substance than a movie that came out in the 60s, or a mangled mess of a Tarzan movie?
Wait, what's this?
Yeet.
How?
Damn.
I don't know, but there you go.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't care how good and instinct and good, like with your physical senses and vision you are. That is some bullshit right there. And this, of course. Oh, by the way, isn't Porter in?
And that's it.
Too?
Clayton's dead.
No, Porter was inside the cave.
Oh, never mind. He's in the.
So yeah, there you go. Porter's. So there you go.
You don't even
Clayton's
see the
dead.
explosion.
Yeah, it's
okay.
just.
Okay, Shirley. Remember how Jane made the decision to go back and stay with Tarzan in the Disney movie?
Yeah.
Well, take a look at this.
I guess as far as she knows, her father is dead. So, yeah, let's go home. Not even a cry about your dad, Jane?
Who
No.
cares? I'm banging the hottest guy found in the jungle.
That's the only guy you found in the jungle.
Aside from the ones who were trying to kill you anyway.
And now, guess what?
I mean, guys, Kari's alive.
Or maybe.
Because
The
he-
magical
he's
power
there.
of leaf.
A fucking leaf.
There you go. Kawa's alive for some reason.
All that's
They don't
missing.
care at this point.
All that's missing
I
is for.
would've-
All that's missing is for Tubot to come out and hug Tarzan
I can
because
tell
now
you-
he likes him.
I can tell you this: the way he applied the leaves on her body, it could imply that the bullet did not graze any internal organs. But one, it should have been a case where the bullet actually, got out of her body, which clearly did not show, obviously. And two, it should have broke one of her backbones as a result. So she should still not be in these conditions.
And there's Rafiki. Okay, listen to this narration at the end here.
Okay.
And Jane just forget about her life over in
Hold on.
America forever.
There you go. Hold on. What do you mean deal with us?
Us?
Baiting.
No, not just that. What do you mean deal with us? What have you done, Jane? You did jack shit to help.
Yeah, like
And second,
seriously.
so there you go, Shirley. Tarzan literally turns to Jane. Now Jane stay with Tarzan forever. And Jane immediately says yes. There you go. Jane doesn't even have a say in any of this.
Oh wait,
How
wait!
great.
Listen to this line. What was
Love.
that? Wow, sure.
Critically close the video.
Wow, sure. I didn't know. Sure, I didn't know the love of a woman was that powerful. But look, her father survived, and he
With
got the
with a
rock.
big shard.
And suddenly we're in the quantum verse. What? DNA strands. Space! Yes, this was indeed a Tarzan movie, everybody!
What the fuck is even going on at this point?
And the camera broke.
The movie, remember the 3D gimmick, guys. The movie ends by killing the audience.
Oh my god, this movie! It's
And
this
so
movie
the audience, and so the cameraman was killed.
died
my
in the line
God,
of
this-
duty.
What a stupid movie.
Also, what
I
the
know,
hell
right?
is this song?
All right. Well, anyway, I'm getting with my final thoughts first because I need to get out of this jungle as soon as I can. This film was a complete mess from start to finish. The only half decent thing is the music and some of the environments.
I too enjoyed having my Coldplay in Tarzan.
But the actual character animations are really, really awkward, even though they're mocapped. But the voice acting for almost everybody is terrible. Although to be fair to them, and yes, this includes Kellen Lutz. Look what they had to work with. They had like barely any story to work from, and their dialogue was insipid.
True.
No.
And-
Yeah, and the Carlos is terrible, but I don't think even Marlon Brando would be able to spin gold out of the script.
Yeah, and yeah, it's also funny mentioning. Also funny the director mentioning they wanted to avoid the uncanny valley. And look what they ended up with.
Yeah, like, holy cow, this film is ugly.
Yeah.
Well, it's not an uncanny valley, more like an uncanny galaxy because we start in space.
Yep.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, I mean, this is probably one of those commentaries where my thoughts on rewatching it has not changed one iota.
Mhm.
So so maybe it hasn't gotten any worse. So I guess that's a good thing for the movie. I still think it's terrible, but not any more terrible than before. And also, what a fall for Constantine movies. I mean,
Would
they
you
were
say
making
that
pretty
they
poor
had
decisions in
their-
the past, aside from Downfall.
Would you say, Dwibs, that they had their own downfall?
Well, I mean, they're still around, so I wouldn't necessarily say they're
We're
down
still
or
doing
anything.
stuff. Although one of the most recent things that they did was Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City.
Oh!
That's, yeah, no.
Oh, I can't wait
yeah.
till we watch that.
But yeah, it's not very good. So the worst animated film we've seen, though, that still goes to the likes of Food Fight if we're talking about animation.
Ugh.
And in terms of story, actually, I'm kind of split. It's either Cars 2 or Tales from Earthsea.
Wow, Cars 2 really did a number on you, and yeah, Tales of Earthsea is...
Yeah.
That movie's just boring. Ugh.
Or all that weird video Brinkado Transformers knockoff.
Bloody Formers.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, but I'm done now. If you'll excuse me, I'm going to find the last airplane and leave you guys all here like you've done to me in the past. Goodbye.
I'll go next. Why not? This is okay. It's a mess. A bit entertaining, admittedly. I was not really expecting much. Also, apparently, this song in the credits, if I recall correctly, is performed by Placebo for some reason. You got Coldplay and Placebo in your fucking Tarzan movie. This is, again, just a mess. As someone who's mostly fascinated by the works of Edgar Ryce Burroughs, mostly just for the kind of mythos they created, unfortunately, again, his ideologies gets thrown into it, and they are very noteworthy. But that's what modern adaptations tends to be for. Trying to keep the idea in mind. After all, we do keep getting Lovecraft-inspired type of horror, cosmic horror stories, despite all the stuff that he injected into his works. So I do believe that an adaptation from his works, either be Tarzan or John Carter, is perfectly possible in a modern context. But this is, I get the idea of what they want. They wanted to change some things, to spice things up, remix a bit of things. And to be fair, the only major things that is still outdated in this version is Jane and Tarzan's relationship, unfortunately. Other than that, it could actually, manage. It manages to clean out most of the stuff that the source material is, tainted by. But otherwise, it's more confusing than anything. This needed an extra 20 minutes to have some key moments being properly expanded, like more lore about the meteor and why its behavior is so inconsistent, more about Tarzan dealing with his own childhood trauma, like that, and potentially removing a couple of the more stupid bits, like the villain of all people managing to recognize Tarzan of all,
before
it's so weird.
the guy who's supposed to
Anyone
have
else,
known him since like he was a kid.
Also, the animation. The animation is just for 2013. This is really unexcusable. I get it that it for a foreign country with a small budget, it was mostly spent onto the American actors, but it's in the mocap. But this is just bad to look at. I'm sorry. The acting, it's not that much better. I think, ironically now, Kellen Lutz is the one that performs the best out of all of them. And even that's because he has very few lines to speak with. So he's basically playing on easy mode, basically. God, the music is a bit all over the place, but it's probably the most savageable thing in this because David Newman is actually a good composer, as far as my memory goes. And yeah, if anything, I got a reminder that I would want a video game instead. The Tarzan video game that uses the modern, open world formula.
Message received. Tarzan made by Ubisoft.
No.
Dad, you're not too far off. There was a video game based on Disney's Tarzan that Ubisoft published, I think, on the GameCube. He covered it. It's bad.
Ow.
It's not that great. It's not good looking, and it roadblocks you behind getting specific collectibles that are kind of pain in the ass to get. Again, the Kid covered it. So no. What it was an interesting finally getting to see this kind of adaptation, definitely one of the weaker ones. Thankfully, the story has kind of become public domain in recent times, so maybe if it's not already present somewhere out there, we might finally get a good Tarzan movie in the future. Who knows? Again, I still have to see the 2016 movie, for example. But no, these ain't it, Chief. Next.
Shiroi, as the other new viewer of this movie.
Well, that sucked. I don't understand what a lot of this had to do with the story of Tarzan. It's like they took the story, used it as a base guideline, and were like, "Oh, that's cute. Now let's do whatever the fuck we want with the rest of it."
Pretty
But
much.
Shiroi, why bother having nobles from London in the Greystoke estate? Well, we can have a Greystoke company in America with American characters. like
what was wrong with him being British aside from him being British? But just
just answer your own question. There you go.
the music, the music was strange. The visuals are dated. It was barely anything to do with Tarzan and his relation to the apes at all. Like this is a humans ruin everything kind of deal.
If anything, this should have been the movie called Tarzan and Jane.
That would have made a bit more sense. I think people might have been a bit less iffy with the movie, but it's still bad. Even regardless of what you call it, it's still crap. So
a title change can only help a movie so far.
What's with the aliens, though?
There really wasn't. In this case, it's just a meteorite that seems to possess some kind of radioactive energy power.
That's the thing, though. The meteorite
mutating some of the creatures, but they don't explain it. It's just this thing does things. Ooh.
Sure, it kind of has a point here. Well, unless that meteorite is an alien itself, there is no explanation for why it seems to have a mind of its own and just randomly decides to intervene in the plot at times.
Also, what was with the intro and the ending?
Space.
I don't understand. Like, what was that?
These are the diaries and logs of flipping Tarzan of the Starship Enterprise.
When I talk about Shiroi, clearly a Tarzan story should start 65 billion years ago.
In space.
I don't know. That's the thing, Shiroi. That prologue of the dinosaurs, it had nothing to do with anything. Yes, they established that it's the meteor, that the meteor that kills dinosaurs is the meteor from the plot, yes. But aside from that, there was no reason to put the dinosaurs in. You could have just had the meteor fall in modern day. There was literally no reason to have the meteor fall in the dinosaur stage.
That's because apparently that meteor is the one that killed the dinosaurs, and what landed in Africa was just a piece of it.
But anyway, that's all I have to say about this. Again, ridiculous movie.
Deji.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts on this picture?
Man, this is how you guys met, huh? This is how you formed a everlasting friendship?
Hey, I wasn't involved in this.
Well, I was talking about Jova and Pedro specifically.
Like, yes, this is where
Jova and David Cage, who's no longer with us, but yes.
Oh no. Oh no. I'm sure he's crying somewhere at the fact that he doesn't have any employees to make a Star Wars game. Anyway, I don't like this movie at all.
Nah, you don't say.
I wasn't angry. I was just bored.
Yep.
It has nothing, like everyone said, it barely has anything to do with Tarzan except name alone. And it felt like you could have just made something original, using that as the basis for inspiration. Because, man, what was with the meteorite? What was the villain's plan? What were you
The villain wants money. The villain wants to get rich.
And he also wants to kill Tarzan because he wants control of the company that badly.
And I don't want to come off as copying Pedro, but what was the theme of this film?
Love! Look, guys, it's like the end of the movie said. The greatest power in all of creation is the love of a woman.
Yeah, and that would be fine.
But what? From who? What love?
That's the love of Jane, apparently. You know what? No.
Their relationship kind of sucks.
Yeah,
you don't say.
Tarzan just discovered puberty, and Jane is just, wow, he's not wearing a shirt. So, horny for him.
And it's like, I guess Jane decides that this is her home now. Like, what about the company that she was running that was supposed to be trying to help animal rights or anything? Yeah, she doesn't seem to care about her dad in the end. That's just the power of love of a woman. Which, I mean, I guess it sucks to be gay then, if you're a guy, since apparently you're missing out on the greatest power, which is the love of a woman. Ugh.
See, here's the thing. Here's the thing. And like I said at the end, Tarzan doesn't even ask Jane, do you want to stay here with me? No, he just decides for her.
And again, I love that line where Jane says, they'll have to deal with us if they want to mess with the jungle. When she did jack all to help with this plot.
Hey, okay. See, here's the thing. Okay, see, in the Disney movie, he also says, Jane, stay here with Tarzan. But that's because you can understand. But unlike this, in this movie, Jane actually refuses at first because, so Jane still has her autonomy, still has her agency, right? And it makes sense that Tarzan would be as simplistic as to just ask that because, remember, he was raised by gorillas. He doesn't have the knowledge and the overall decorum necessary to understand what he's asking.
And here's the thing.
So it's understandable. So it's understandable, right? But in here, it's more so the fact that it's more so the problem is not so much with Tarzan necessarily. It's more so with Jane. Jane just immediately accepts Tarzan's request and doesn't even think about it. Never a single thought is given about her father or the company that she's supposed to be running.
Not only that, but here's a question: the movie says that the greatest power is the love of a woman. What did the love from Jane do to solve the plot? If anything, the rock that Tarzan threw that killed Clayton and crew in that helicopter had more power than love in it. Oh my God, Killer Croc was right, Dej.
So I guess the love of a woman sucks, but us men, our love sucks in comparison. I guess.
So, and apparently Killer Croc was right. Just throw a huge rock at it and that'll solve the problem.
It was a
fact-
big rock.
In fact, I'll be right back. Continue on that.
What? This movie's stupid.
Nah, you say?
Well, I again, what was this film trying to accomplish? This movie, and I understand, like, yeah, not everyone has the budget of DreamWorks or whatnot, but God, this looks like the most 7th gen looking video game ever. You know, I was prepared for something incredibly unhappy that would be this disaster, but it's just,
Oh, make
This
no
happened.
mistake. When this movie came out, it was regarded as a disaster.
20% on Rotten Tomatoes currently.
Oh yeah, it sucks,
And it's technically
It's
a
not a
box
good
office
movie.
bomb as well.
but it's not like a Swan Princess movie. Or
So I just asked Vanessa, and yeah, according to her, this is bullshit because according to her, neither man nor a woman's love are all that they're cracked up to be. So
So this movie lied to us then, I guess.
yes,
I was told the power of love could stop bullets. No.
Hey, listen, not even that. I just had to convince Alice that this was even a Tarzan movie.
Oh.
piece of shit movie.
yeah.
Okay
Basically.
then.
But you know what? I've seen worse. And this,
sure.
and this
So have I.
movie that Jova was hyping me up to be like, oh man, wait till you see this one.
You're done, Dej?
Yep.
Yeah, this movie is really, really bad. Like I said, the reason it's so easy to get confused about how things work is because the movie has zero world building. Never at any point does the movie stop for a goddamn moment to explain the basics of how all this meteorite crap works. Never at any point do we even know anything. So as a result, it's incredibly easy to get lost or confused. And again, the plot makes no sense. Power got fucking shot with a bullet, and she just got up like nothing, like it was nothing. Like it was just a mild inconvenience. So basically, what you're telling me is that there was never any reason to fear for anybody in this movie.
Of
People
course.
apparently can just survive. People can just survive bullet wounds like that. There you go. Problem solved.
As long
Okay,
as you've
we're-
got the
we're
right
done here.
leaves to tend to them.
Yeah, the characterization is non-existent. The villain is a cartoon. Tarzan is just an archetype. Jane is a trophy for Tarzan to get. The father is I'm sure he's a nice guy. The parents are just as bland as you'd expect. Nothing in this movie is fleshed out. It's just like everything about this movie just feels like it was made to cash in on Avatar popularity.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like. This is not a Tarzan movie. This is an Avatar movie with Tarzan characters guest starring in it. That's the problem. And as a result, it doesn't please anybody. It doesn't please anybody that was a fan of Avatar because, well, it's not a proper Avatar movie. It doesn't please Tarzan fans. So who the hell was this movie made for exactly?
Apparently Germans, I guess?
Even though this was first dubbed in English.
Yeah. If that's the thing, if Reynard Cruz wrote this in English and made this in English first, then yeah, clearly the main target audience was not Germans. Otherwise, he would have done it in reverse.
I wonder
Obviously.
if this was the same mentality with the Magic Voyage.
I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, this movie sucks hard. It sucks really bad. Now, like Deji said, yeah, it's not the worst movie. There you go. Not being the worst movie ever is not something worth patting this movie in the back for. It's still a really bad movie. Yeah, obviously, just because I can pull out of my ass 10 movies that are worse than this one doesn't change the fact that this is still a really bad movie. It makes no sense.
I guess it's because it didn't frustrate me. That's the thing.
Sure.
I guess
I'm
to
not
be,
as, you know.
I can kind of see why it may not have frustrated you as much because this is the kind of movie where, for all the stupid elements there are, It's just the kind that it can keep you distracted with its broad strokes of idiocy. Whereas, say,
It feels like a movie made to shut kids up for an hour and a half.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was dumb. It was stupid, and like I said, it doesn't necessarily. It only updates in ways that makes no sense, and the things that it should update doesn't update, specifically Tarzan and Jane themselves, which is kind of a problem. Also, what the fuck did they do to Kala? Kala is done so, just like Jane, Kala is done so dirty in this movie because she gets nothing to do in this movie. She does nothing aside from getting shot. That's it. That's all. That's her primary contribution to this movie. She gets shot so we can have a sad moment, and even that sad moment is undermined because, well, she just gets up and lives for no reason. So, yeah.
I love her reactions, like, oh no, this isn't good. Oh no, we should get out of here, Dad. In a few minutes, we're about to be blown up.
So that is it. The movie sucks. The end. Jova.
A lot of my colleagues have pretty much said it all. Like, what is this movie? Why was this movie? Like, holy cow. The casting is terrible, the acting is terrible, the visuals are terrible, the songs... Well, okay, the songs are weird. I mean, they're not bad songs per se, but seriously, Coldplay in Tarzan.
And Placebo.
That just feels like a meme waiting to happen. But nope, this actually happened. A living meteorite, which apparently has a mind of its own with no explanation. Weird and fantastical locations with no explanation. Like, for all we can assume that the meteorite did it, it's never confirmed that it did it. Like, it would be such an easy thing to establish, because otherwise it just makes this world seem nonsensical. Like, 1 minute you're all about the realism, and then you go, killer giant worm plant, which looks like it came from xenomorphs. What the hell? Not to mention animals that clearly do not even belong in that part of Africa. So, yeah. They clearly are taking stuff from the Disney movie and some other stuff. And, like, why? Did the villain really need to be Clayton again? And the villain is...
This version of Clayton is so lame compared to the Disney version.
I know, right? That Clayton managed to actually fight Tarzan hand to hand. This one constantly gets knocked down, and his military force gets defeated incredibly easily. Granted, part of that is because of a Deus Ex Machina meteorite, but still, though. Also, I guess the meteorite was okay with Jane's father taking a sample as opposed to everyone else? Like, as opposed to, Tarzan's father, who I'm pretty sure, as far as we know, was benevolent, so... What is even happening? That is what I find myself asking a lot with this movie, honestly. It is one of the dumbest, most nonsensical movies I've seen, and yet the fact that there's a ton of a lot worse movies does say quite a bit. What a piece of work this piece of trash is. Yeah. So that was Tarzan 2013.
See you for whenever we do another version, like the Disney one or the 2016 movie, I guess.
I guess. See you then.
See ya.
See ya.